Oil spikes well above $100, hitting nearly $120 today. That's before Trump came on television and stated, quote, "The war is very complete, pretty much," end quote. What do we really believe? Is Trump just saving face because he saw the market was plummeting? Because it seems like we're not getting consistent stories day in and day out, or even through the Trump administration. As always, please check out the disclaimer. We do talk stocks every once in a while. Any suggestions? Please seek a professional before you put any money to work. All right, guys, let's get to it. So, happy Monday to you. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Before we dive into the biggest stories today, let's go over the overall market. So, we'll take it to Yahoo Finance and we'll look at the scoreboards, the three major indexes. S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and possibly the Dow. I think it finished up positive today as well. S&P 500 hit a low today of 6,636. We haven't seen that, I want to say, at least 3 months ago. We can take a look at it. Whoops. Yeah, this is back in December where I'm looking at 2025. And we got really, really low in November. So really is looking at since November, we have not, the S&P 500 has not been this low. Now we did recover from there pretty quickly, which was good to see. The NASDAQ was up over 1% today. And we'll talk about some of the companies that propped the NASDAQ back up. And the Dow finished today, let's call it about 0.5% higher. For whatever reason, Yahoo Finance isn't uploading or updating for me. Gold came off of its lows today is 464.79. It closed around 472.66. Still very much lower than last week. I think we peaked around 490 in GLD last week. All right, let's look at some individual stocks. Meta, NVIDIA had a wonderful day. Meta was up 0.4%. NVIDIA closed over 2.5% higher. Robinhood rebounded as Bitcoin climbed back to around 69,000. Take a look at it right now. At least on Robinhood, it's at 68,966. So I'll call it 69,000. Apple bounced higher. Uber was lower today. That's dealing with some things. I think they're going with dealing with legal battles. But I did see an update for women riders. I believe there's more rollout for women riders to request women drivers if they feel more comfortable doing so. So that's awesome to see. Vertiv Holdings had a very nice day because Friday, after the close, it was announced that they will be added to the S&P 500. So there was a lot of money that was thrown into Vertiv Holdings, which is a partner with NVIDIA, and they do the liquid cooling for those data centers and keeping those chips cool and making everything run not hot and efficient. So a 9% move on a day like today. I think it was up about like maybe 2-3% this morning, even before the market had that quick snapback. So that was awesome to see for those of us that are holding Vertiv Holdings. Amazon barely squeaked out ahead. DraftKings barely squeaked out ahead. Netflix came off of its lows today of $96.58. It's kind of been in overbought territory ever since they pulled out of the bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. I'm waiting for it to get to $90 or below, if even possible, before I start loading up again. Take-Two Interactive closed just under 1.5 percentage points higher. All right, let's get to the major news and the real reason why the market performed the way that it did today. So, as we stated at the top, Trump said, quote, the war in Iran is, quote, pretty much over. Now, only time will tell if that is actually true or not. I don't really believe a word that he says because he's always changing his tune. Seems like every other day. But I looked at the futures this morning and they were down significantly. I want to say S&P 500 and the NASDAQ were down 2% or more before the market opened. It looked like it was going to be a bloody day. WTI crude surged past $107 a barrel. As we are in the second week of this Iran battle. So Trump suggested the military campaign against Iran was nearing completion and that the Strait of Hormuz was reopening to maritime traffic. Now, I'm not sure if everything was ever shut down, if there was a little bit of traffic that was going through and now the traffic is picking up. I tried to watch CNBC, but going to be quite honest with you, I was kind of tuned into the opening of NBA free agency, or excuse me, NFL free agency today, and all of the moves in some of my favorite sports teams, like the Tennessee Titans and the Detroit Lions. I like to keep my mental stable, and there's been a lot of volatility in the market. So I've been kind of focusing on sports and just more focused on long-term investing, in which I'm not really too concerned with what's happening right now. Just trying to keep my my mental sane, because dealing with this and watching this stuff every single day or trying to trade in and out, it's I want no part of it. So if anything, I was waiting patiently to take advantage of some of these dips. Unfortunately, I did not get in today. I really didn't see this snapback coming, but it looks like for those folks who follow Trump and really actually trust what he has to say, those folks jumped in aggressively today. But there were some clues because the VIX spiked. We didn't talk about the VIX earlier. The VIX spiked well above 30 today, at a high of 35 today. 25, where we're sitting at right now, is pretty high. So 35 was pretty extreme, but I didn't think there was any way that anything was going to change in the matter of a couple of hours. So I just sat in the sideline, and unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to take part in that massive rally and buy that dip today. But it's all right. I'm still invested. I didn't just panic sell everything. I think that was the worst thing that you could have done today. Just stay the course, and it seemed like things worked out. It was also great to see that Vertiv Holdings, which is not one of my top holdings in my portfolio, but that 9% move definitely helped some of the other stocks that weren't performing very well. So that was kind of good to see and helped calm my nerves. Like we said, oil hit around $120, $119 intraday before it collapsed. I think it's around maybe like $80 or so right now. Last time I saw after hours. But it's been absolutely crazy, and it looks like we could thank Trump for talking to his base and followers, or whoever decided to throw a ton of money back into the market. And for those folks that were trading oil and buying at the peak, those are going to maybe be some severe losses that people are taking trying to trade around this spike in energy. Just be careful out there, whatever you guys are doing. Like I said earlier this month, we were dealing with the tariffs and everything last year, and things didn't stabilize until May. So we're still early parts of March. We're still dealing with this Iran conflict, so just be mindful. I think the best thing to do right now is focus on long-term investing rather than trying to trade. Stagflation fears peak, And mind you, this is all from Anthropic Claude, using their AI. I was using Google Gemini, and I still use Google Gemini to do research here and now. But as far as getting these market updates and top stories and the biggest gainers and losers in each index, I've been focusing more so on using Claude now going forward. So we did get February jobs report today, this morning. Non-farm payrolls fell 92,000, pretty sharp, missing expectations of 55,000 jobs added, and the unemployment rate rose. Now I feel like this is from Friday. No, this could have been a little bit of a glitch. I wasn't really watching this morning, like I said, but if this information is incorrect, I apologize. Cruises are collapsing because the price of oil has investors spooked and think it might eat into the cruise line profits. It says on track for its biggest single day decline since November. It states Royal Caribbean dropped around 4%. Norwegian fell 5%, on pace for a seventh straight negative day. Carnival and Norwegian have each plunged more than 20% since March alone, while Royal Caribbean has tumbled more than 14% month to date. I think for those of us who like to travel, I think the best value as far as traveling is cruises right now. So if you're somebody who's a long-term investor, maybe this is an opportunity for you guys to get in those cruises. And last but not least, the NASDAQ broke that 200-day moving average, that key moving average, but we did see that rebound today in companies like Broadcom, AMD, and NVIDIA bounced today as well. All right, let's close with going over the biggest gainers and losers for individual stocks. In the Dow, Caterpillar, NVIDIA, and Amgen were the biggest winners, while Cisco, Boeing, and IBM were the biggest losers today. Caterpillar had the best day in the Dow, up just over 3%. S&P 500, the energy stocks, your ExxonMobil, your Chevron, those companies did well today, all bouncing about 1% each. Broadcom was up 4.5% plus, as well as AMD. Whereas we were talking about those cruise stocks, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian were all down. And NASDAQ, again, Broadcom, AMD, and NVIDIA were the companies that propped up the NASDAQ today, whereas SanDisk, Micron, those companies, those memory companies fell 7%, and Intel fell 5% today. All right. I'll be traveling tomorrow, so hopefully I'll be able to touch base with you guys tomorrow and make a video. If not, I'll see you next time. On to the next one.